If you're listening to this, you like two things, Gary Butterfield and podcast. And if you like both of those things, you should go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Pledge to fund his new show. It's called Heartbeat City. Gary Butterfield, a.k.a. Cozy Snugglefield, sits down with a guest and answers your questions. That's right. You call in, you leave a voicemail with your relationship problem, your sex problem, your love problem, and him and his guest will answer it to the best of their ability, making you laugh and cry along the way. Again, that's patreon.com/DuckFeedTV. Thanks, and enjoy this episode.
Toi, mes amis. If we let him. If we let him. If we let him.
It little profits that an idle king by this still hearth among these barren crags, matched with an aged why.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where me and Gary talk about every single episode of the X-Men animated series from the early 1990s. Gary, we're back. I'm really loving the end of the season. Can I tell you that?
Yeah, it's back, baby.
It feels good to be at home, man. Like, this is the X-Men animated series that I know and love. These two episodes we're covering today, Nightcrawler and Weapon X Lies and Videotapes, it's just so good. Like, they're both really, really great episodes.
They're good and also stupid in a way that I really love. Like, it's like that good stupidness that happened with the bad Savage Land episodes we had, where it was like it ended with, you know, the gigantic lizard fighting the gigantic rock man, but with better subject matter. You know, it like there are just like the things that happen to this, or like it's like a flashback to the. I was gonna say that because it has like museum scene. Like, there's a lot of like dumbed down time in these that I think is very fun, and I'm here for it. I'm extremely here for it. These, if you're watching your DVD or looking at your torrent or whatever, these were not, these are the end of season 3, but they were actually aired in season 4, I think.
Something weird about that. Yeah.
Yeah. These were shuffled around. So, maybe we won't get back to regular numbering, next season. Because there's going to be some things missing from it. So just so everyone knows, but
you'll just have to trust us on it. That's going to what has to happen. Go look at daysoffuturecast.com/schedule. And I at the start of every season, I go through and document which episodes you're going to be covering, which episodes of the podcast are going to be covering, which episodes of the TV show. So if you're watching along and you're like, oh, hey, there's a new Days of Future Cast coming out this Saturday, then go to that site to see which ones you're going to need to watch to keep up with us.
Yes. Yeah. They're very good. I'm way into getting into them. So let's get into them.
Let's jump into it.
I'm hot to fucking trot when it comes to these episodes of X-Men. I'm a race car in the goddamn red. For this episode called Nightcrawler, where Gambit, Rogue, and Wolverine take a ski trip to Germany. While on the trip, Wolverine hears reports of a demon hiding in a local monastery, and after investigating, finds the mutant Nightcrawler. Fearful of his appearance, the townfolk attack him and burn the monastery where he lives. Determined to help this new mutant, the X-Men set out to convince the townsfolk that mutant kind should not be feared.
Not true. None of that happened.
This is... there's so many things. This is... I took notes. I almost never take notes, but these episodes like engaged me enough to where I didn't have to like play an unrelated video game at the same time or anything.
Okay.
So I got notes, and I'm going to cut in with those every once in a while when we get to these. And the first one I just have is cat owl.
Right?
Because there is it opens with this weird cat-like owl.
It's so bizarre. And like the setup here with the music that's playing and everything, like I have it in my notes that it's like we're basically opening on Dracula's castle. Like, this feels like it's out of... I just watched the first episode of that new Castlevania anime, and it feels exactly like the opening for that Castlevania anime. Like, it's exactly like all the big organs, and then every time Nightcrawler is on screen, you get this like big... vocal thing that's happening. The music for this show is so bonkers. Like, it's so crazy. Yeah. I really, really wish we could get like high quality, like just original source material
Straight
for this
riffs.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's so good. Like that Dazzler music is super good. I have like a 4-minute
Dazzler
cut of
music's
that,
really
and I
good.
love it.
The question that this opens up with is, when the fuck are we? Like, why is this an Eastern European village in the 1600s? Jeremy, like,
It's so weird.
Is this a time travel story? Like, it's very weird. And also, the main villager is M. Bison.
It's totally M. Bison. I'm so
It's
glad
M.
you
Bison
said
from
that.
Street Fighter 2, like,
It's-
with a blaster.
It's really weird, and yeah, like he has a blaster, but all of the other people are just carrying like pitchforks,
Torches.
and torches.
Yeah, torches and fucking pitchforks. Like,
And throwing
it's the end of
bricks.
Frankenstein, but what are you guys doing?
Somebody
It
made
is-
sci-fi Frankenstein, Gary. That's what this is.
It is. It is sci-fi Frankenstein starring the X-Men, and it's as good as it sounds with that. Like, and this, so to be fair, like less than any Nimrods in the audience, are waiting to write in. Like, this is Nightcrawler's origin, pretty much. This first part, like, he is in a weird Eastern European village in the 70s for some reason, and it's just Chris Claremont not understanding that like the rest of the world advanced in time. They're not stuck in the in Frankenstein times because Frankenstein was written there.
It feels like a
but
very
it's-
Western thing to do with just, there's castles over there. I guess everything is probably still castle time, right? Just because there's a castle there.
It's all toiletless villagers.
Exactly. So this is kind of a typical, you mentioned it, this is Nightcrawler's origin story. Like, he kind of shows up at the top of this like tower or whatever, and the townspeople are already rabbled up for some reason. Like, they're already angry and mad, and he is seen by this like local woman who actually has a name. They go out of their way to name her towards the end of the episode. It's like Henrietta or something. And she of course like freaks out and it's like, oh, there's a demon. It looks weird. Kill it. And they just start chasing Nightcrawler through the fucking streets. It's so mean.
There are mutants, right? Like, is this like, this is what Europe does instead of Morlocks? It's like I don't know, man. It's just, have you seen fucking Sabretooth? Like, there's people who look a little bit different. Like, it's so weird for them to react like they've never seen a superpowered creature, that looks a little bit different before. Like, it's rural Germany, but not so rural that it doesn't have a ski resort. So
With a bunch of Australians in it, just talking about the local gossip, which I fucking love.
during these 2 episodes, like, accent watch is a real thing. Like, in multiple places, I'm just like, whose accent is this? What is this accent? Like, especially in the next episode, but it shows up here as well.
I read a great anecdote from the guy that voices Wolverine, and he said that the voice actors got paid extra for doing any kind of side roles. So if anybody said like, "Oh, hey, can somebody sound like a New Yorker?" everyone would, regardless of whether or not they had that voice, it would just like, "Oh yeah, I can do it," would try to get it first, so they get a little extra money on the side. So that's why you hear some real wonky stuff sometimes, I think.
It explains an awful lot. So they're chasing Nightcrawler around, and Nightcrawler is just trying to get away, and this is kind of like well shot. Like, they show his eyes like glowing in the darkness. For some reason, he can stick to walls now.
Yep, sure, why not?
That's not what Nightcrawler can do, but here he's like literally wall runs for like a block.
He's got those weird feet. Like, they do a real good job of like capturing his like weird hands and feet, like these little 3-pronged things that he's got going on. And I guess they just assume like,
toes.
well, I guess so, but like,
Do you think
guess
your
I
hand
should-
is a 5-pronged thing?
I do sometimes. I learned the word prong before fingers. I was a weird child. Okay.
like Autumn, would you take my 5-pronged thing? Make me the happiest man.
But yeah, I guess they just assume that like, because they look weird, like they can stick to stuff like Spider-Man's apparently can do no matter what.
It's extremely weird.
It's
And
very
he doesn't
weird.
teleport until the end. Like, it's he could teleport to get away like earlier and just like fucking dishonored yourself up onto the roof, and these yokels won't know what's going on. But he doesn't do it until the very end when he's about to get stabbed.
And he almost gets scythed, but he acrobats his way over after the
Yeah.
over the scythe, which I think is just really hilarious. Like, again, he gets shot at by a laser, and then someone comes at you with like a actual like farm scythe, not even like a cool
the beginning
like
of Resident Evil
Dark Souls
4.
scythe. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's like Nightcrawler's uniform is awesome. Nightcrawler is awesome. It's very cool to see. It's just goofy.
Yeah.
But then we cut to like, so we're going to spend the next 10 minutes without touching back on Nightcrawler, with just Gambit, Rogue, and Wolverine's ski adventures. And this is so the content I fucking crave, dude. Like,
this is so fucking good. This, because none of them want to be there. Like, all of them are having a bad time. What?
They there?
Who planned this vacation that everyone, like, oh yeah, we're going to go to the ski lodge in Germany. Like, we're going to fly.
Here's what happened, Jeremy. Is the chore wheel that shows who takes care of Gambit landed on the space between Rogue and Wolverine's name.
Just the line.
So they both had to do it. Yeah, but they both had to cancel plans. So like nobody's happy here except for Gambit, who's only unhappy because he thought he was going to be able to like skeeve out on Rogue. But this is a great Gambit episode, dude.
Oh man, this gives really good Gambit, and Wolverine has some really great lines here too. Like he's real mad about because Rogue says something to him to the effect of,
"Hey, hoser, I thought you liked to ski."
I guess referring to that episode in season 1 where he shouts Heather a lot.
Yeah,
and then he's like,
"This is sitting around drinking cocoa and getting funny looks from rich people."
And I'm like, "What are you? What are you guys look normal right now? You all look normal."
When they're hanging out and doing this, Gambit picks up his cup to drink his cocoa and charges the cup for a second and then drinks out of it.
That's not how
what the
Gambit's
fuck is going on,
work. Dude? I wanted so bad for him to take a drink of that coffee and just have it explode in his mouth, like it was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like
like you put a gusher in there.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah, gusher. I kept saying wanted to say a bottle rocket, and I was like, that's a different thing. You can't say bottle rocket.
It's a zero prong to candy. Is what you're thinking of.
Oh man, you know that Gambit has used the term mouth prong to refer to his tongue before. I got my upper prong and my lower prong, baby. Come on, we can do
First
this.
you charged a prong. It's very good that he does that. And what sets our action into motion here is Wolverine is super bored. Overhears some Australian guys talking about a demon in the local village and is like, "We're going demon hunting." It's like, okay, this is the kind of thing the X-Men do. This makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, this is exactly what X-Men would do on a vacation to Germany, is overhear a rumor and then go check it out just in case. Like, it's so dumb. And then they decide to ski there. The idea is so dumb that they wrote Rogue saying, "Shouldn't I just fly us over there?" Because they couldn't.
Yeah, and Wolverine just has a comeback for everything where he's like, "What's the matter? You can't handle the slopes," or something like that. Every time anyone questions any of his terrible, terrible decisions, he just like throws it back in their face. And then Gambit. So at some point in my notes, I know he says "gumbo fun." Like at some point where he's like, what does he say that relates to gumbo fun?
So when Rogue says,
"Maybe I ought to fly us there."
What? And spoil Gumbo's fun?
Okay, so we don't ski much on the bayou.
Okay.
and that's when we see Gambit shakily skiing down this hill, and then of course just falling ass over tea kettle and just like and just
crashes
crashing
into a tree.
Well, no,
we're not to
the tree yet. We have 2 accidents here. He crashes once directly into Rogue, then he falls down again as he's trying to get up. He refuses to help. Rogue's like, "Do you want me to help you up, honey?" And he's like, "No, I'm a big man. I can do it." And then he falls into the tree and literally charges the tree up somehow, which doesn't make any sense.
Which explodes the tree and causes an avalanche. Like this is going on. This is happening.
Yeah, this is just
it is.
It's so bizarre.
Oof.
We get this. Did you notice the gratuitous ass shot from Rogue? By the way, when
I didn't. I was looking down at my zipper.
Yeah, of course you were. Yeah,
I was looking down at my lower prong.
Your lower prong.
Yeah.
Yeah, they this is all over the place in tone and weird. Like, and once this avalanche happens, or no, not even then. At some point, Wolverine gets thrown, and like he's like complaining, like he's out loud talking to himself. Of like,
"Oh man,
the man can stare down apocalypse without breaking a sweat, but he can't ski down a hill or some shit."
And that's when he got buried in the snow for a second, and then bust his claws to burst out of the snow. It's fucking snow, Logan.
There's
like, I could do that.
There's never been this show is so inappropriate for Wolverine's powers because they never show him actually cutting anything except cyborgs. So if there's no cyborgs out, but he shouldn't be popping his claws all the time. Like he would just be better served like punching people, but he's always popping his claws out.
Yeah. Yeah, it ends up becoming actually like a problem during the big fight in this episode where it's like he's trying not to kill people, but there's a real easy way not to have indestructible knives attached to each of your hands.
It's so it's so over the top, and I again, like, this is the kind of you said it before. This is the content that you crave. Like, this is the show at its best for me. Like, it's just so goofy and weird with these characters, and I can take that. If they had this exact scene in whatever dumbass Dark Phoenix X-Men movie they're doing, like, I would be so happy, right? Like, just give me this, but with the vampire chick and Hugh Jackman and whoever they get to play Gambit. Aren't they doing a Gambit movie with Channing Tatum or some shit? Yeah, give me those three in a room.
That's been yeah. I wish that this episode they never got to the village. They just kind of kept trying to get there, but kept having like mistakes on the mountain. You know, increasingly like silly things were like, you know, they would do things that I would do if I was there, like fall off the mountain or like, you know, get like frostbite or hit their head on a ski lift, things like that. Like, I wish that this whole episode was just, you know, and it would just be like X-Men, you know, snowballs with a Z, and it was just like,
National Lampoon's presents X-Men's Christmas Vacation.
Because it spoils the pacing so much, and it's because they just have one other scene after this, or like two other scenes. Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot happens in this episode, but they just need to have this extra drama that makes no sense really.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Here.
I'm kind of picturing like Wolverine trying to get to the top of the mountain in the ski lift, but he weighs so much with his adamantium bones that he just stays in place and like causes a backup. And now there's like 10 ski lifts that are cycling around that can't move anywhere.
Rogue's just like, Shug, you got to get off the thing. A man doesn't get off a ski lift until he reaches his destination. You know, really just like Gambit walks up with a bunch of fully charged cocoa. Like, Gambit brought the hot chocolate, keep you warm, Cher. What the Cajun? Just go back and forth forever. I just wanted to loop as those three. Like, those are my three characters that I want to just have fuck this up. And then every once in a while, you call into Scott.
That's what I was.
And then Scott has
Scott has words. Or what are you doing? There's a mutant in the town next door. That's why we sent you to Germany. What are you doing at the ski lodge?
I got to work on my bunny slope. What are you talking about? Stop saying one-liners, for the love of God. Yeah, it's extremely the content I crave, and the rest of the episode is very good too. But my jaw was on the floor, like I was beaming during the ski nonsense. Like, it's so good. I was so happy, like so happy. And then later, just like Gambit, you know, he hurts himself really bad during this. Also, later he gets shot. So if you don't like Gambit, this is a really good episode because he gets really hurt. Like.
And he's kind of checked out for most of the episode. Like, at one point, he tries to get back into the fight, and he's like, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. Just need the room to stop spinning." And like, Jesus Christ, dude, go lay down. You have a concussion.
Why were you included in this episode? Other than just to be the super cool X-Men who keeps hurting himself and falling over, like. So they make it eventually. So Rogue finally like flies them out, and once they land, Wolverine takes them to this, like, again, Frankenstein times, this like old monastery castle. They take him in because Gambit's, you know, hurt, and it's like, we take in anybody who's hurt. We had a lot of people who are skiers who get injured and come and recuperate here.
Which, the idea of that is hilarious to me, by the way. Like, that they're just hanging out by the ski slope waiting for somebody to break a leg, and then be like, "Come to our castle." They're
like a fly trap, you know? It's just like...
There's no way they're not eating these people, Gary. There's no way.
Well, this part where, like, they notice that Rogue has tits.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Again, like, I was like, what is happening to the pacing of this episode? Like, that's the kind of joke me and Jeremy would make, like, you know, or we could be like, man, it's so weird that this order of monks, like, just has this woman here. They'd probably pop tons of monk boners. But then the show does it. Like, the show actually is just like, you mean I'm the only woman here? It's like, yes, you'll have to dress more modestly. You know, and I'm like, man, they're addressing it. Like, this episode's doing the work.
Yeah, you can
know,
just
in a way I didn't expect.
We could just put this, like, the first 10 or 15 minutes of this episode into this podcast, and I don't think people would really notice a difference for a while. Like, you'd be like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, they do all of this stuff, and then there's like Wolverine basically interrogating them for demon knowledge, like and basically saying like, I heard there was a demon locally, and then everybody freaks out and just
when did Wolverine get this weird demon hunting boner?
where
like if you think of things that like define Wolverine, is hunts demons one of them? Because he cares about fucking two things in this episode. It's like hunting demons and how much he hates God.
Man. I feel like there was another episode that presented this Wolverine hating God situation too, like where he was having a crisis of faith. I can't remember which episode it is though, but man, they lean into this hard because once we finally meet Nightcrawler is the preachiest motherfucker on Earth. Like that's all that dude talks about is the Lord and the Lord saving people and his origin story. Like that's his two topics of conversation. He's like a CrossFit person who's also a vegan. He only has two things to talk about.
It's actually, that's the one thing that I think is kind of a bummer of this episode, is it's not a very fun portrayal of Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Like Nightcrawler is a very fun character, and this episode is very fun, but he's not fun in it. So that, at this point, like the monk says something like, the reason like atheist Wolverine pops out is the monk says something like, God must have been watching over you to bring you to us. And Wolverine's like, God wasn't there when we got into this mess. So his point is that God caused the avalanche that your idiot Cajun friend caused, or something like that. Like, did God trip Gambit to trip him down the stairs?
I guarantee you, Gambit is not a product of the Lord. He is definitely the product of the Satan of Satan's prong. He's got a multiple prong plan.
One, his son. It's like, Lucifer. Two,
I'm never going to be able to say the word prong again.
It's a good word, man.
So this is where Rogue decides to go check on Gambit, who is like, basically, they've said like he's hurt, he's going to have to stay here for a while, like he can't do anything. So she goes and checks on him and finds an unknown person trying to like kill Gambit,
burn his face off with acid
for like
no
definitely reason. Why?
He's trying to like the way he's gonna kill. He like takes this cloth and dips in this stuff, and then it starts smoking. And later, when he throws the pot, it like fumes everywhere, like it's burning. Like it seems like he's trying to rub this acid into Gambit's face until he dies.
This monk thinks that Gambit's too pretty for this world. We gotta ugly you up, son.
Like you're too blonde.
This is really weird because like. Even throughout the rest of this episode, like we learn who this is. There's a monk there that doesn't like the fact that this monk is sheltering Nightcrawler, which is fine. But I guess, is this the setup for that? Like, is this trying to turn the monks against Nightcrawler? Because, dude, you don't look anything like Nightcrawler. You just look like a normal fucking monk.
I think he just doesn't like that there's outsiders. Like they're dressed, weirdly. But I don't know why he tries to kill Gambit. It's a weird thing. Like if the idea is he's trying to frame Nightcrawler, that's real strange because Nightcrawler can talk and stuff. He's not, he's not like a monster or anything. Like he could just say like, no, I wasn't there. I was over with Paul. Remember that? And Paul can be like, yeah, me and brother Nightcrawler were hanging out. So I don't know what the idea is, why this guy's trying to kill Gambit. It's very strange.
So, but Rogue, luckily enough, like comes into this, and then the guy like throws his acid pot or whatever at him, which like smokes it all up, and so she kind of gets blinded, rushes past, and then she gives chase, and then immediately realizes I can't run or fly in all these monk clothes, so I'm gonna take that off. And like, there's a monk there that's like, oh no, and I'm like, dude, where were you at with this Gambit situation over here? Like, why are you getting all up in arms about her full body, bodysuit or whatever? So
someone's hucking acid. I swear you cannot see anything, and this is not a very revealing Rogue outfit. So as she's chasing, Nightcrawler pops out. She's gonna fall as she's chasing him. Mm-hmm. She starts to fall off the roof, but Nightcrawler saves her. And then she gets super scared of his face, and Wolverine is going to summarily execute him.
You scared my teammate, so now you're dead.
Guess who one of your best friends is, Wolverine? Sasquatch. Guess who one of your other best friends is? Puck. Like, you have a lot of like weird, freaky friends.
Also, you're 5'2", and your hair is 6'4". Like, maybe back the fuck off a little bit.
Like, you are used to people looking like weird. Like, the Morlocks.
You know the Morlocks. You party with Leech.
Yeah, you had Christmas with the Morlocks. What are you doing? Like, and he literally is going to swing his blades. Like, he's again summarily execute Nightcrawler. It is so weird. But he teleports away, of course.
Sure.
Also, and this is a side note because I misheard something, but it's really great. Where he has Wolverine or Nightcrawler's hopping around. Wolverine gets mad and he says like,
Try hopping over these, pal.
and I swear I heard dry humping over these, pal. Like,
Good.
And just all this together, I'm like, what is going on? Like, I am in a tizzy.
This Wolverine aggression is just hilarious to me. It's like he kind of got fed up because he got like sold some God stuff, and he's like, I'm done. Let's kill this demon and get out of here. Like, what? How does this make sense?
I don't believe in God, but I do think all demons must die. I don't believe in Christianity, but I do think there are demons, and I think it's my duty to kill them with my adamantium claws.
What a weird thing for Wolverine to have such a hard on about, and this gets a little weirder because there's a monk that comes in and like breaks the situation up, and it's like no, Brother Nightcrawler is welcome here. He's a monk, and I'm like, excuse me, did you just say Brother Nightcrawler? Is that his name? Why not Brother Kurt? He's got a real name. I guess he talks later and he doesn't actually have a real name. Like I guess they just named him Nightcrawler and it stuck. But seriously, Brother Nightcrawler is 2 words. I love it so much.
Yeah, he keeps his circus name. Once you get a circus name, you keep that circus name. So he tells his origin, where he didn't like, unlike other mutants, he's always looked like this. It's Mystique is his mother, which is a big reveal for this. Like they could have done something with that later. It was a big deal when they revealed that in the comics. But Mystique is chased out of town by these villagers with baby Nightcrawler, sticks Nightcrawler in a river. Through against literally all odds, he washes up on a circus and not, in a waterfall, or just doesn't wash up at all.
Or not in like an alligator's mouth, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just this impossible biblical story about Moses that's just not true. Like nobody has ever done this. Nobody's put a baby in a river and the baby has been okay after that. Yes. Like it's just never ever happened. Or just
lands on a river and no one finds it. There's large stretches of river where, like, outside of hearing distance of humanity, like, it's very, very lucky that Nightcrawler survived and ended up in a circus where his talents were used for good, and he becomes the wonderful Nightcrawler, or the fantastic Nightcrawler, learns a bunch of circus shit.
It's also pretty weird to me that when, like, the day that apparently Mystique had a baby in, like, middle Germany or whatever, central Germany, it just ignoring the Mystique part, but like apparently the day that she was giving birth, like the villagers were already riled up, like they were ready to torch this kid outside before he had even popped out. Like do they do that for every birth? Like because people just have weird traditions, just in case. Like if you have a demon baby, remember we're gonna have to kill it. Good luck.
Like heaven forfend if you live in Germany and you have a cleft palate. Like this
Jesus,
like mob of yokels is going to set you on fire. So
M. Bison is going to come after you. It's like he's like Krampus.
Good night.
Brother Nightcrawler, Gary. Just want to keep
saying brother
that.
Nightcrawler, man. Yep. And then so there, Nightcrawler is like kind of doing his like preachy spiritual kind of shit, and Wolverine's like super not having it. As we mentioned, he's like hyper Dawkins mode in this whole thing. Yeah,
he's aggressively like, don't give me that easy answer. God made me like this. He did all of this stuff to us. You're nothing but a mutant, like all this stuff. And to be honest with you, I'm not, as you might know, I'm not a huge fan of religion. But like I don't do this. But man, like after a while, like Nightcrawler started wearing on me in this episode. It was only 22 minutes long. Like shut the fuck up. You don't know what I've been through.
He doesn't present a very good argument. He's like his counter argument is God works in mysterious ways, and it's possible that you have these claws for a reason. But then this episode is paired with the next one that showed just the incredibly profound torture that Wolverine had to go through to get here.
Mental and physical torture that he went through.
Yeah. Like it's literally like we're going to fake trauma and expose you to it all the time so we can turn you into a Manchurian candidate. And it's very hard to like just have Nightcrawler shrug and say God works in mysterious ways. Bump 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 bump. Like I think Wolverine kind of has a reason to be kind of pissed about this.
And it's at this point that the show realizes that there hasn't been any like punches thrown in like 5 minutes, so we have to juice up this action. And our brother, I named him Brother Tattletale, who is the guy that I guess probably tried to kill Gambit, but he goes out to tell the villagers, oh yeah, since you guys are already, you just pre-mobbed all the time, like this is what your 8 o'clock mob hangout looks like. By the way, the demons at the monastery, so they start like, literally they pick up like a tree and start like, use it as a battering ram to get in this monastery. It's ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
it's so dumb.
Yep. And so they're hanging out, and they're like, the mob is coming, right? So they're like, what do we do? And everyone's acting worried, like they're not fucking superheroes. Like Wolverine's like, 50-3. How are we going to handle that? And it's like, man, you can do 50 people on your own. Wolverine, this is you, buddy.
Rogue can fly and has super strength.
Yeah.
This is
Did you forget that you have someone who can literally lift all of you out? Like, and who's also invulnerable. Like, you can shoot Rogue and nothing happens. Like, you've forgotten that you were X-Men.
Yeah. You spent too much time at the ski lodge and you just became a normal skier. Yeah. That's the problem with that.
You've forgotten the face of your Xavier. Like, it is it's definitely what's happening here.
And there's a scene here too where Wolverine is like freaking out about this and talking to Nightcrawler, and Nightcrawler's like, I was put here to teach them the error of their ways. And then immediately after that, Nightcrawler says, and I need to leave. And I'm like, wait a minute, you can't have it both ways.
I should go.
I have to leave. But P.S. I will teach you some stuff later. But there's some weird art in this scene. You may not have been paying attention, but like Wolverine's eyebrows branch in 2 or 3 different places over their eyes. I'll try to find a still of it because I think it might be the cover art. But like it literally, like they go just multiple directions across his forehead, which I find very hilarious. Wolverine's hair is never not good comedy material, is what I'm saying.
Man. So they break in with this battering ram thing, and this is kind of a fun action sequence. Like the idea here, like the X-Men can fight, but they can't really hurt anybody. Mm-hmm. So and this is right before this is when Gambit tried to be like, he's like 50-2, and Gambit's like 50-3. Gambit is up for anything. Whoa. Starts like falling down. So just to show that. And then he does try to help. He throws some cards down on people before they break in, and then they shoot him and he goes and lays down again.
He's just gone for the rest of the episode. We don't even really, we catch up with him later in fucking France. So this is what you were talking about. These villagers break in and Wolverine pops his claws, and we covered X-Men 2, and there's a really great scene in X-Men 2 where the soldiers raid Xavier's mansion, and he gets to go like fucking full berserk mode. And you think that like I would think something like that's going to happen, but of course they can't because it's a cartoon and it's aimed at kids. So you get just multiple shots of villagers advancing on Wolverine with like pitchforks, and him just chopping the pitchforks like smaller and smaller. And the villagers don't stop. Like they're like, no, we can still push you back. And I'm like, who the fuck is this like farmer guy?
Why aren't you scared?
Yeah, that like this guy has he has claws, for God's sakes.
Rogue poses as if she's at a painting, and then once they come in, she pulls the painting and like this tapestry and catches them. But then they grab her arms and she absorbs their minds. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, "Oh, it's demons. We have to do this because of God." So the idea, I think, is that they're in like a religious fervor. And that's why they're not scared of Claw Monster, who can kill all of them without blinking. It's very like it's a little much though. Eventually, of course, this inevitably leads to Brother Tattletale and Nightcrawler ending up in this library, which like at some point gets set on fire, and them kind of having this philosophical fight.
Yeah. Where he's, the guy thinks that he's, killing this demon, and the demon's going to lift this curse or whatever. And like Nightcrawler basically just turns around and was like, "Look at this. You set the library on fire, not me." And the guy's like, "Oh shit, I did. I'm sorry. I was wrong." Yeah. What?
And then it continues to be on fire and nobody really cares. It keeps happening until eventually, that's after he was going to fall and Nightcrawler saves him.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
So like he's going to fall and Nightcrawler, he's like, well, "Finish me off, demon." He's like, I can talk. Like this entire time I've been telling you that I'm not trying to kill you. Like, why does it take this, from you to believe me? But then they just kind of stand around for a while it's still on fire until we just cut to like after the fight. The monastery is burned down. All these people have lost their homes. And Wolverine's like, well,
the ski lodge lost its hospital.
Yeah, yeah. Now when you go down like, the killer slope, like you have nowhere to go. And like Wolverine's like, "Oh, that was great," and Nightcrawler's like, "No, it was good. Yes, we lost the monastery, but we taught him a lesson." And it's like, really? Like it seems like, I don't know, man. I think that this value proposition's not great here.
Yeah, we can. It's just like stone and mortar, but the foundation that God has laid into us today is even stronger. And I'm like, homie, like God's foundation that he just put inside you does not keep the rain off your forehead. Like, you gotta,
exactly. It's winter. It's extremely winter.
It's
out.
extremely winter. There's a ski lodge next door to this castle, which is still super weird to me.
And then Nightcrawler does the thing that, you never want a religious friend to do, which is give you a Bible where he's marked certain passages for you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is the worst
Chill
form
out,
of a
Nightcrawler.
mixtape. Like, this is like somebody making you a mixtape of just the worst songs.
It's just songs from the Garden State soundtrack. Like,
it's making somebody a
exclusively.
mixtape and then recording yourself talking about the song that's going to play right
Oh
after
my
you get
God,
finished talking.
yeah.
Right? Like, I chose this
Wow,
song. I chose Purple Rain because I think that it
That's a
embodies
deep
the.
cut. I forgot that I'm sure I'm guilty of that, but I forgot that even used to happen. Like, that's rough.
Oh yeah, that's not a good place to be, Gary. So let's sum us up in Paris, because this Paris scene is just unexplainable to me. Because all of a sudden, Rogue and Gambit are like sitting down at this cafe, and Gambit's having the best time of his life. He's like, "We should live it up every day. Nobody's here for any reason. I'm eating some shrimps and some ice cream at the same time because I'm fucking Remy LeBeau and I can do that." I came to Paris to eat shrimps and eat some ice cream, and I have a lot of both.
Doing some shrimp affogato.
Jesus.
Pretty disgusting. But then Rogue is just like God, I can't believe I'm alone with you. Where's my co-pilot and taking care of you? Walks in on Logan in a church who's praying. So I guess that's the arc. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess this is all to teach Wolverine like how to love God or whatever, because he's in this church alone, like reading from the Bible at like, I don't think they actually put Jesus on the cross, but like presumably like in any church in France,
It's
you're
weird.
gonna
It's
find,
Magneto,
like,
actually. So
it's a crucified Magneto.
that's very strange.
It's very weird. I mean, if your body is made of, if you have metal in your bones, your God is going to be a guy that can control metal, right? Like that's just given.
Yeah, and if you have metal in your bones, there's no way you're getting crucified. Or if you're Magneto, rather.
Yeah, there's no way
he's
that's happening,
uncrucifiable. Yeah,
and
100%.
he makes like this prayer to God, and then Rogue leaves in tears because of it, and then that's just the end of the episode. And I haven't watched ahead. Like, I just watched these today, and I don't think that this is going to get like. Are we going to get like some religious shit with Rogue? Yeah, what a weird thing to like. Hey, we've got this character, and we really. He's small. He's got this weird dark past. He's got this crush on Jean Grey. Let's give him a religious problem too. Like, let's really complicate this cartoon up and have to do a bunch of like quasi-religious symbolism stuff. What are they doing here? Why?
Yeah. It's really misguided and doesn't play off. It's not good serialized storytelling at all.
Yeah.
No.
These are the tales of the
So yeah, let's talk about Nightcrawler, Kurt Wagner himself. I feel like the movie version of Nightcrawler, like our X-Men 2 version of Nightcrawler, I think they based him heavily on this version that we just got finished talking about. Like with the religious the religious stuff, the kind of like weird guilt stuff. I feel like all of the X-Men movies, like since this was the only visual medium, like this was the only like real X-Men thing that had been in the world besides the comic books, I feel like a lot of this stuff got drawn, but Nightcrawler especially for some reason. Did you feel that way at all? I'm just kind of curious.
He's like a cross between this and a cross between Ultimate Nightcrawler, who has like the weird like dark past kind of part of it. Like Ultimate Nightcrawler was part of the Weapon X program, which they didn't do in this, obviously, but it's that same kind of like dark past guilt kind of thing, which doesn't come across very much in the comics at all. I don't think we've gotten a really great version of Nightcrawler in another medium. I haven't watched X-Men Evolution enough to say, but he does tend to be like people pick up on the religious angle rather than like the contrast between his deformities and the fact that he is, pretty happy and go lucky. Happy and go lucky, not happy go lucky.
He's a bit goofier in X-Men Evolution from what I've seen of it, which is only like the first like maybe 5 or 6 episodes. But the weird thing is they make him carry around a device that makes him look human all the time. So I constantly forget that it's Nightcrawler. Like when I was watching it was just some like brown-headed dude, and I was like, who is this guy that keeps hanging out with Cyclops all the time?
Cyclops' buddy Brett. In the comics they have that like the image inducer thing, but it's such a problem because it's like that's one of the interesting things about Nightcrawler, you know. But they wanted to make them like be able to go hang out at bars and shit, so they had to make him disguise his powers. But like, it's kind of a bummer, I think. You know, I think that the interesting thing about him is that he maintains this attitude in the face of what is actually like a very difficult life. And he ends up like the more angsty you make a Nightcrawler, the less into it I am. Like he had his own comic in the early kind of mid 2000s that I read for a while. And it was kind of him as like a paranormal investigator for some reason. And it didn't really work. It was not like lighthearted and good. You know, he's really good in a team book when he's having fun.
Yeah, like my ideal Nightcrawler is him like basically just as like he has a sword on his belt and a jaunty hat and is doing the whole swashbuckling routine and like really living the life. Like I can see that Nightcrawler would be like one of those dudes that wants to like be on a role play server on an MMO, right? Like he wants to be like he wants to live the life and not just play at it. So
I appreciate that a lot. I think he might be dead currently.
Oh, really?
I just looked up the wiki, and there's an entry that says Nightcrawler now resides in heaven. So
okay, so
but it's like, but it continues. That's the beginning of the paragraph. Resides in heaven, where he was somewhat of a loner, despite enjoying paradise. Nightcrawler, man, comics got weird while I was gone. Continued to feel as though he had unfinished business. Because I think he died in some kind of like, you know, big event thing, and I remember the people reading about it and thinking it was kind of shitty that they killed him. Like it wasn't really worth murdering him at the time.
It's real shitty that you can go to heaven and get mad about it. Like, you know, because that's kind of the basis for Ghost is like, hey, I'm going to hold on to this realm, and I'm going to slowly like lose who I am and become this angry, vengeful spirit god or ghost thing. So I'm going to start haunting people, and I will eventually get violent or whatever. But like, if you can go to heaven and still be pissed off, like that's lame. Like I thought that was the whole promise. Like if you go to, has he been hitting the Bible that hard? And then you get up there and you're like, well, I mean, it's good, but like, you guys really don't have any AC in here. Like what? That sucks.
Yeah, it's very surprising to me. I can't remember how he died too. I think his arm was in something when he teleported. Yeah, this fandom entry is nuts because the entry right before him in the afterlife is Wolverine goes to hell. And I was like, oh, okay, Wolverine goes to hell at some point.
Oh, Jesus. Comics are dumb.
Nightcrawler is the basis of... so one, I talked about this before, but Chuck Austin thinks Nightcrawler has 2 dicks. He's also the basis... That's right. He also is the worst like comic book story that Chuck Austin did where Nightcrawler's dad is literally Satan who goes to Earth to create a bunch of baby teleporters to teleport him to Earth so he can take over Earth. It's extremely dumb.
Homie, like, if you can get your dick up in Earth, like, you're already on Earth. Like, just go be doing... Please don't have sex with Mystique and have a bunch of weird teleporter babies. Like, just, like, go do your thing. Save us all the 9 months of stress.
That is the plot hole right there. And his dad is that guy from X-Men First Class. Like, you know that weird, like, squad of loser mutants that... only show up in X-Men First Class, but like, you know, who are not very good. It's the Satan figure in that, like Azazel, the weird Satan-looking guy. That's supposed to be his dad. It's pretty dumb. He has a dumb origin, but like, I still really like Nightcrawler. I think he's got the most interesting power. He's always fun to play in video games.
Yeah.
When you can be Nightcrawler, like he's real good in like Ultimate Alliance and X-Men Legends 2 and shit.
That was on sale recently, and I came very close to picking it up, and I regret that I didn't. So I'm very sad.
Ultimate Alliance. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Like the remaster is not much better than the original one, but it's still like very fun. Those games are very good. So Nightcrawler is good. I wish better things have been done with him. Like but I think he's better as part of a team than as like, you know, I don't think there's a lot of like the definitive Nightcrawler story to tell. I think he's an ensemble guy.
We haven't seen anything on Nightcrawler in the new timeline of the movies, right? Like since First Class, we haven't seen anything about Nightcrawler.
No, he was in
wait.
X-Men. He was in the new one.
Yeah.
Apocalypse.
I forgot about Apocalypse. Did he live at the end of that?
Yeah, but he was not interesting or good in that. Like, he was just a weird subplot for them to go find him in the fighting rings or whatever. That's a shitty movie. Well, sorry, I just got reminded about how annoying Apocalypse is.
I just Googled the images because I literally cannot remember what Nightcrawler looks like in that movie, and I just saw what Apocalypse's like weird PVC foam outfit, and I'm just like, oh god, I cannot wait to have to watch that again for
Yeah, he looks like a young kind of shittier version of the old the one from X-Men 2. He's like emo version of that one. He's got a
like
real,
with
like,
this
comb over kind of thing.
He has a super emo haircut. Yeah, this is not great.
No, not my fave. Yeah, poor Sophie Turner. That's Nightcrawler. I wish that it's hard for me to think of, again, I can't think of like the definitive Nightcrawler stories. I just wish that more things have been done.
Yeah, like when I think about him, I think about him and Kitty Pryde and those like early, not X Factor, but is it Exiles or what are the ones where they're hanging out with Captain Britain over there?
Excalibur.
Excalibur, that's what it is. I couldn't get there. Yeah. That's like peak when I was doing my reread. Like that was the best Nightcrawler stuff. And then there was that one where he's like the weird fantasy thing where like he's in a castle or something, right? Something like that. That was fun.
Yeah.
But you're right. He doesn't really work as a solo character.
No, I don't know what he would be.
These are the tales of the
Moving on to Weapon X Lies and Videotape. Tormented by memories of his hidden past, Wolverine sets out, along with Beast, to the Canadian government facility where he gained his adamantium skeleton. There he discovers everything he knows about himself, which isn't that much, is actually wrong.
That's a really weirdly worded sentence. Also, gained his adamantium skeleton made it sound like he leveled up and then like got a new ability.
Dun. Yeah.
We've talked about this episode a little bit, this episode title a little bit. Like, I just could not believe that they like made a reference to this super weird movie that's about sex and psychologists and stuff. But it's a surprisingly apt title, like Weapon X Lies and Videotapes.
Yeah.
It's literally the three things that are in this thing.
It is. He's right, and it's actually like for like a Wolverine mythology episode, pretty good. We finally get that, and we get to play a lot of like, what fucking accent is this? And we get to finally get a Maverick episode, so you can stop saying that guy in the background.
Maverick, who are you? I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah. It's the guy with the I get like the French German deep voice accent.
Yeah, this dude's voice,
I think it's supposed to be Canadian, but
so bonkers. I have no idea what it is.
I have a note in my thing. It's just in all caps, and it's just, what is Maverick's accent?
Yeah. Like I was the whole time. I was like, what the fuck is this dude trying to say? I could barely even understand what he was saying when he would talk, but which is fine because he only has like 4 lines, and they're all like Wolverine. Like they all start with the word Wolverine.
It's a lot of times it's and ends. So is this a result of the ski trip? Like, does he go through this this mental breakdown because he found God? Do you think?
I mean, maybe because Xavier talks in this episode about how all of the work that he's done, like all of the things that he's done to try to help him cope with these weird past memories, has broken, and now he's like lashing out at people around him. I could definitely see like a come to Jesus moment, fucking with that dude's mental whatever crazy ass shit Xavier's been getting up to in that dude's head. I can definitely see like a belief in God fucking with that. Mm-hmm. Fucking Xavier, man.
It's very weird because this didn't like seem to. There's no evident reason for all of his programming to like just go away.
Yeah, and the episode kind of makes it sound like it just happened naturally, and then like the end result of this is they go through a door, and the guy's like, "Oh, you made it here, so that means that your programming went away, which means now you have to die." I'm like, "Do you actually have a plan for this? This is really weird."
They definitely did somehow.
Yeah, but
it's super strange.
Wolverine and Sabretooth are fighting over Wolverine's extremely stereotypical Indian girlfriend, whose name is Silver Fox. And they realize it's a dream, so he wakes up and then he starts lashing out at the X-Men. There's a moment where he like kind of lunges at Xavier, and Beast jumps over and picks up Xavier's entire fucking floating wheelchair and then jumps away, which I really liked.
Yeah,
that's good. Good work, Beast. Like you're doing your job. Your protect Xavier job is real good.
Well, and I like Jean does the like actually like move Scott backwards. Like it's kind of good powers here.
Yeah.
Like puts him in that telekinetic shell and just kind of shunts him backwards. Because Wolverine is scary. Something that happens here that always happens with Wolverine is his arms are strapped down, and then he pops his claws and then is able to break the restraints, even though the claws have nothing to do with it. He doesn't cut through them. It looks like he does, but that's not where he's being restrained. It's just he pops his claws and then can just like raw and just like get through it. So you would think that they would like be scared of him. They know he, I just feel like he should be in like a floating tank. He should be in that Iceman tank.
I don't want to get too into this, but now that you're sitting here thinking, now that you said that thing about because it does happen to Wolverine a lot with when his arms are strapped down. Do you think when his claws pop out, like his upper arm or his lower arm or whatever that part of your wrist area is called, like gets thinner now that the claws aren't in it? So now that gives him maybe some leverage to do that. Like, does that make sense?
You're trying to get a no prize?
I'm kind of leaning for a no prize on this one.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because it's they have like sheaths though, so the sheaths would still be there.
God, we've talked about it before, but those sheaths are just filthy. God, they're so gross.
It's just full of bacteria.
We literally saw him chop off a turkey leg the other day and say the word turkey. Like that's, ugh, God, that's so gross. Yeah. Those are some dirty prong holders, is what I'm saying.
Those 3 prongs he has in each of his hands. Each one comes from a place of sin.
But he jets. Like he basically loses his mind, jumps in his Jeep, tries to run Beast over, and just fucking leaves. And Jean Grey, I love this moment with Jean Grey. She goes into his room to try to like find clues or whatever. Goes into his nightstand.
Jeremy?
Yep.
Sorry to cut you off. I don't want to give you GIF homework, but the moment where he runs out of the room, the animation fucks up and he shrinks as he goes towards the door, and it's really good. It's worth calling out because I noticed that and I ended up watching it a couple of times. I'm like, this is a real bad thing, like with perspective, and it's just him going and shrinking down to like half his size before he leaves. It's really funny. There's a couple animation errors in this episode that are really great.
Yeah, there's especially with Beast. Like there's some flips that Beast does that are just bonkers.
Yeah. No sense. So anyway, so Jean Grey.
Yeah, so she walks into his room, opens up his nightstand, finds 6 billion pictures of herself with like Scott's face scribbled out. Totally ignores that and like, oh wait, this picture probably means something. I was like, whoa. You live next door to that. That's weird. That is not adult normal behavior. Like that's he is scratching your boyfriend out of your pictures. And this is not the era of Facebook. He had to go find these pictures, right? Like this is somebody he had to go take these pictures or
he had to develop them.
Or he had to go steal film from you and go get these developed by like a friendly person. Man, that's just so weird. His obsession with Jean Grey, just especially in this, is just really not in this, but in this series has been really, really weird. But she finds a picture of him and Silver Fox next to a car that like he calls Baby, I think at some point. Like he has the car named, or maybe it was Jetta or something. It was doesn't really matter. It's just it's a weird moment because you find the car later at the Weapon X facility, which I find just like there's so many cars at Weapon X, like right, like that they're still working. There's a hole in the side of this facility, and there's a working truck on the inside. Like it's just what
it's a place that's very rich in information that nobody acts like it is. Like it's still functional, but nobody acts like it is. I'm surprised like AIM hasn't hermit crab their way in there.
Seriously. Or William Stryker, right? X-Men 2. Let's do it. Wolverine makes his way back to the facility where he gained his adamantium claws, as the description says, and we get the same. Like this is the 3rd time we've seen this scene in the series in 3 different episodes. Yeah,
like
yeah.
Wolverine with the weird like tech helmet and
except this time we get like some more flashbacks of this, which I think is actually kind of cool. Like him being trained is kind of a neat thing where he's wearing the helmet and you get like the first person perspective. It's goofy. It's super goofy. Like it looks way worse than just him using his normal eyes, but it's still kind of neat. Like that they show it to you from that perspective.
It could be way worse.
It could be.
Yeah. So again, they're training him to be like a killbot. Beast shows up, and he's got his like Wolverine handling gloves.
What are these? This is so weird. It's like these bulky leather gloves. It's like He looks like out of something out of a fucking Blizzard game. Like he looks like he picked up some loot on the way in, and it's like, oh yeah, +3 to my tennising quotes.
Like he's got best loot equipped.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
He's only found that fucking loincloth, that tech backpack, and these gloves.
What a weird character they do with Beast. This is also the part where Wolverine says, I can't remember how Beast introduces it, but he says something to Wolverine, and Wolverine says,
I got my bones here.
which is,
Yeah, I think that's really it. Beast is like, we must go. I got my bones here. It's like, okay, Wolfie, we'll have it your way.
and this is where he stumbles onto his old car, which again, the Weapon X facility has on hand for him, and starts having memories of Silver Fox and like Sabretooth showing up and fucking their shit up as they're carving. There's a running theme of Wolverine acting like a 4-year-old or like a 13-year-old and carving his initials and names into stuff all around this property, which I find very bizarre.
Well, if you had claws, like my name would be on everything if I had adamantium claws. Just like I'd write my name on the world, you know. It'd be one of the first things I do. So, you know, in the flashback, Sabretooth shows up, but then he shows up in real life. Mm-hmm. And they get in this fight. You know, it's a standard Wolverine and Sabretooth fight. Until we get a flashback to Sabretooth's childhood, I want to talk about Jebediah Creed a minute. Because
we're not quite there
who's
yet, by the way.
Jebediah Creed? Haven't we established who Sabretooth's dad is?
We did. We're not quite to Jebediah Creed though, because this first flashback is to Omega Red. So.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Sorry, I apologize for that. This is just the team.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the old Weapon X team where they're fighting Omega Red, and they're all kind of dressed the same. It's a little bit annoying, but it's Wolverine, Sabretooth, Maverick, and Silver Fox all dressed up in these like kind of shitty tech outfits fighting Omega Red.
Actually, it's weird that you say that. I kind of dig these outfits. Like, there's solid black with some weird like '90s belt things happening, but like I dig the fact that they just look like a paramilitary force. Like they look like terrorists, which is what they are.
Yeah.
Like I wish the X-Men would maybe look like terrorists every once in a while because that's what they are.
It makes it weird that Maverick's choice is that when he doesn't have to wear this, he goes and dresses what Maverick dresses like. Like, you know, I mean, putting this as their uniform puts everything they choose after this into relief. Like, these are all choices.
Exactly.
And that's pretty weird.
Mm-hmm. It is very weird. But this is pretty much a standard Omega Red fight. But the kicker is, as they're trying to get out of there, once they get... There's a MacGuffin that they pick up somewhere along the line, but... Maverick and
it's like the C disc or something like that.
Yes, like I wish I had made a note of what it was called because it was really bizarre, and it was also written on the thing that they pick up, which I think is really handy if you're a terrorist trying to steal it. Like, go give me my wallet. It's the one that says wallet written on the side of it. But they leave Maverick and Silver Fox behind. Like they close a door and they don't let them back through or something. So they presume them to be dead, and Wolverine's real fucked up about it and blames Sabretooth for basically allowing his Indian girlfriend to be killed.
Yeah. So then we go back to the present. They do some more fighting.
Did you notice this flip that Wolverine does? Did you notice this?
Probably not the specific flip.
Where
there's a lot of flips in this episode.
There's a lot of flips. Sabretooth is laying on his back on the ground, and Wolverine does like a little flip and straddles him, and then holds up his claws. And it's Gary. I mean, I can't see erotic stuff everywhere in my life, but it looks a little erotic to me.
I'm not Pierce yet, pal. Welcome to Pronged Town. So they're about to. He's like, I'm finally gonna kill him once for all, which is not gonna happen. But then Maverick and Silver Fox show up because everyone's being drawn here. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's going to turn to a big fight, but then eventually it's like, hey, we're all having headaches. We're all being driven here. This is actually the facility where they gave us our fake memories.
Exactly. And they have like little, basically like sets built up, right? Like with when Sabretooth sees his, which is the next thing that happens, he sees like his childhood home. And this is where Jebediah Creed comes into it. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Who the fuck is Jebediah Creed, Gary?
It was a very important plot point who Sabretooth's father was. Not just in the comics, like in the show. Like they used the Cerebro DVD player to show him to the Friends of Humanity guy that he was his. Oh no, that's his son. Never mind. I got confused. I got sons and fathers mixed up.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so that was Sabretooth's kid.
Creed is Sabretooth's son, but his dad is this guy who has this fucking accent Like, yes, you will find that we, he's like a real like mustache twirling European villain.
Jebediah Creed knows how to get the wickedness out of you.
No, please, Pa, not again. I'll be good.
Like, he sounds like Vincent Price or something. Like, you will find that you are wicked. Like, it's very strange. Super strange.
It's over the top too, and then we immediately find out that like so they're planting these fake memories, and Beast just happens to find the video. Like he finds like their pitch.
Hey guys, the Kickstarter for Weapon X.
Exactly. Like this is definitely the Kickstarter video for Weapon X. That's a great idea. Somebody needs to make that YouTube video because that is just a really, man, that's great. And it just explains everything. It's just, do we have a name for this guy, by the way? Because they don't really mention a name. But he's just a bald.
It's Cornelius.
Is it Cornelius?
Dr. Cornelius.
But this isn't Lady Deathstrike's dad because he just happened to be on hand. So that wasn't this dude. It was a
yeah. No,
this
is I think this is Dr. Cornelius. I think that's this guy's name.
Yeah. He explains everything. He says, like, we were specifically creating these traumatic memories so that we could basically control your subconscious and make you think that you're living normal, happy lives until we needed you to go do some crazy military like invasion bullshit. And which is super creepy and bad. Like, I don't like any of that. But what is also super creepy and bad is that Beast, who is separated from the group, he's in like a control room while they're all like in the set place. Basically just says a Tennyson quote out loud to himself, and then at the end says the word Tennyson.
Lie which is half a truth is ever the blackest of lies. Tennyson.
Who are you telling that to, Beast?
He's got to cite his sources even in dialogue.
I mean,
like even to himself.
I haven't called Beast insufferable in a while because he's been kind of entertaining me, but like literally quoting your sources out loud to yourself is pretty fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's wrong. So this is where I'm a little confused of the thing. This is where they go to the door, right?
Not quite. So this is where we find out that the Beast finds a second video. So we get video number 2, which explains
they made
that,
a stretch goal.
They were exactly, and their stretch goal was literally giving Sabretooth adamantium bones.
Yeah, like if we make it a little bit for money, we'll make 2 Wolverines.
We're going for 5,000, but if we can get 10,000, we'll make a second Wolverine for everybody.
Just you wait. And Sabretooth like is kind of into that, and so this is all just them kind of exploring the facility on their own because Silver Fox finds this door that all 4 of them need to open. Mm-hmm. Like it's a genetic scanner that all 4 of them can put in their code, and Beast is like, "This is a trap, you idiots." As Tennyson
Beast
said,
carefully takes off his
fucking morons.
His +3 gloves and like puts his paw on it, and it just doesn't recognize him, which I found hilarious. It's so weirdly detailed that they take off all of them have to like take stuff off to get scanned on this door. It's really weird. And they all like one by one get identified, and the door opens with Beast the entire time saying like, "This is a terrible idea. What are you guys doing?"
Yeah, but we have to know. They go in. It just looks like more facility. Mm-hmm. Sabretooth immediately says, "There's nothing in here," but it is full of computers. Like he doesn't understand. Like it's like, what are you making? What did you expect to be in there? Like just big 72-point font on the wall, like the story of you, like. It just looks like more facility. There are screens, there are computers, everything. And eventually this throws a third video that just says video at the beginning of it. Which I really enjoy.
Like. Yeah.
And this is the trap. It's saying, if you made it here, the only reason why you'd make it here is because you remembered everything. We're reactivating something called Talos to reprogram you. And then Talos pops out, and Talos looks like the Executioner a little bit. Like it looks like it's just like a real dumb robot. That has like axes that it generates out of its wrist. Mm-hmm. It's got rocket tits. Like it totally has really, rocket really tits. Dumb rocket. Yeah. Bad robot.
The rocket tits, Gary, are hilarious. Like they just come out of his nipples, and one of them at one point gets blown off, so he only has one of them, and it's like a gaping wound where his nipple would be. It's so weird and bad. I don't like it at all. But the the actual action here is pretty good. Like these number one, Silver Fox takes over and just starts bossing everybody around, which I think is super dope. And she also calls Beast Blue Boy several times, which I think is also super dope. But they kind of work together as a team to take this thing down, and like they set up this whole like string of events so that they can then put some thermal paste or some shit into this thing's back and explode it. But it's dumb. It's a really dumb looking robot, but it's like a fun action scene, I think.
Yeah. So eventually they fight it. Of course they fight it. It's just an action scene. There's not too much to say about it. They do get out. Wolverine and Maverick shake hands. Sabretooth runs off to do Sabretooth shit. There's a good line. Wolverine, there's where's Sabretooth? Wolverine goes, I give a rip. Something like that. But then, Wolverine is just like, hey, Silver Fox, we just found out that all our memories are fake. However, we were not fake because I carved our initials in that stupid tree. And in the facade, there was not initials. And she's, reacts appropriately where it's like, we're killbots and I haven't seen you in decades. Like, that doesn't fucking matter. Like, I'm out of here. But he's still jonesing because he needs the tag.
Regardless of what happened, even if you actually carve something into a tree for me, like, number one, that's not like the deepest devotion of love that you could possibly do, and also I was under the influence of like mind altering bullshit at the time. Like, I don't trust anything that I was doing back then. Like, maybe they were just making me feel like I should be with you because I had a shitty dad or something. Like, I'm not gonna hang out with you. I do want to. There's a moment when they're fighting this Talos robot where they finish him, and then another one pops out of the ground, which I found very, very funny. And then they do something, and Beast has to basically pile them into the back of this truck and then drive them out of the facility, which I think is really, really good. Thank God Beast is around. But then when they're saying their goodbyes, and Silver Fox goes off into her spaceship car that's just right there, like that was really fucking weird. Maverick just disappears, and then if they pan the camera back to the Blackbird, and they're picking up the truck into the bed of the Blackbird, and I'm like, that's how Xavier gets all of his cars. He steals them.
He steals them.
This makes way more sense now. Just they even have like a little picker, like a little crane to pick it up into the bed or into the belly of the plane. It's hilarious.
That's very good, and that's really it, And then they pan out, and Wolverine also carved the name on a tree, like a new tree, like a third, like an unforeseen extra tree.
Yeah.
So Wolverine is way into carving their names. That's what they did because they're 14. And Wolverine's not over it. And that's like literally the end of the season. Like, it's just like,
see you next year. No big.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you end on the Dark Phoenix saga, dog? Like, have a 4-episode build-up.
Yeah. It's very weird. Like, this ends up being a very weird season, I think. On the whole. Like, generally, I like this season. I don't know where it stands as far as the other ones go. It's probably not as cohesive as season 1, but it's best when it's these weird little short story things, and then also has some of the worst episodes we've seen as well.
It's high highs and low lows. I think high highs is Cyclops getting run over by a dude in a wheelchair. Like that's pretty up there for me. That's a good thing. Yeah. But then we had to do 2 whole episodes in Savage Land, which had its own good moments, but it's still like 40 minutes of Savage Land bullshit. But I think especially towards the end, like we finished the Dark Phoenix saga, and I think the Dark Phoenix saga on the whole was pretty good. And then we went right into Orphan's End, and then Nerd Jug, and I think both of those were great.
Those are
and
good.
Then these two, yeah. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about this. It is an anticlimactic ending for the season, but I mean, with the numbering on this stuff, who knows what they were actually trying to do.
The next season begins with Trevor fucking Fitzroy and his little weird slave Bantam. So look forward to that. Like, it's going to begin, and next season is the one where Bishop hangs out in the time stream a bunch and has a weird little intergalactic imp that he argues with a lot. So
the only time I like time travel stuff, but I really like if he's going to have somebody that he argues with a lot, I just wish it was older Bishop, right? Like I just wish that we had a Bishop that was telling him like you shouldn't do this, like because I did this 2 weeks ago and it was bad. I don't know.
Man.
Bishop.
One of the descriptions, one of the episodes next season, Love in Vain, Wolverine witnesses the crash of a spaceship carrying horrific humanoid insects. Okay. Great.
It's really, really bizarre. I'm into it. What are we doing to finish out this season, though, Gary? What else we got on the docket before we start those episodes?
X-Men 3, X-Men United.
Yes, it's
or
finally
X-Men
here.
The Last Stand, rather.
I cannot wait to just really get into that Kelsey Grammer beast, because that's going to be... I remember that being
toss
pretty
those
special.
salads. I want to scramble those fucking eggs.
It's actually I remember kind of liking a little bit of X-Men 3 the last time I watched it. Like I think it has a pretty strong opening sequence. It gets so caught up with the bullshit between Wolverine and Jean Grey that I'm thinking it's going to be a drag to finish. So hopefully some sort of booze will help with that problem and keep me entertained.
Definitely won't hurt.
After that, we're going to do a feedback episode. I'm very confused about our schedule right now, but I do know we'll be recording that feedback episode towards the end of August. So if you're listening to this and it's almost the end of August, you should go ahead and go to Days of Future Cast and then go to the contact form and fill out that contact form and get in touch with us. You can also hit us up on Twitter, DOFC Podcast. We'll take DMs or ats over there, and I'll save those for the feedback episode. But yeah, ask us any questions you want to about the X-Men, any prompts, anything that you want us to talk about X-Men related, or I guess, just comic book related too. Like, just, give us a shout. We'll talk about everything.
Yeah, whatever you like. It's up to you.
Do you have a podcast that's about prongs? Like, let us know. We'll give you a shout out.
Prongcast. Yeah, give us your prongcast. Yeah, that is gonna be real fun. So hit us up with those. Other than that, you can support us on, if you want to support us, you can support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Even a little bit of money every month makes a big difference. We got stretch goals and rewards and all kinds of stuff you can scope out there. We'd love it if you gave it a shot. And then writing reviews on iTunes is still a big deal. That helps us out quite a bit.
It's ridiculous that it's a big deal, but because it's such a pain in the ass for people to do. But if you have iTunes and you can manage to get to their stupid screen to let you do a review, it would really, really help us out. And it actually just kind of exposes the show to more people. So I think that's pretty much it. I've been Jeremy. That was Gary. We'll see you next week. Or no, we'll see you in 2 weeks with X-Men 3.
Umbasa.
Umbasa.